Hi, this is Kelsey from Math Sisters. Today I'll be dealing with factoring by difference of squares. Difference of squares only works when you have a binomial, two terms. Now just remember, on my past videos I always told you the first step of factoring is GCF. So you first always want to check if anything can come in. Now I just want to review real quick how to check this. So if I have an example of what I'm about to get into my answers, here's the example, and I'm going to distribute that out. When I say distribute, I multiply everything by the 3x on the other side and everything by the negative 2y. So 3x times 3x is 9x squared. When you're multiplying variables, you add exponents. 3x times 2y is 6, alphabetical order, xy. Negative 2y times 3x, negative 6xy. And negative 2y times 2y, negative 4 added exponents y squared. Now you'll notice, in difference of square, this should always happen if you check it full up. The inside becomes 0, and you are left with this right here. So we will be looking at questions that will start out like this, and we're going to have to go all the way to looking in its factored form. And if you want to check it, I showed you can distribute. So going into what the formula is for difference of squares, the basic formula that you will always see if you look it up is a squared minus b squared. And you just think of square rooting. That's what I always think, cutting in half. What's the square root of a squared? Because when you square root something, a square root also means raising it to the 1/2 power. So 2 times 1/2 is 1. So just think of cutting in half. It's a variable. So a, and then you put a positive and negative. Or you could do a minus and a plus. Doesn't matter the order on these signs. What's the square root of b squared? Cut it in half. That's squared. So b. So either example works out perfectly. So that's just our formula. Now here's our first example, a squared minus 4. Again, just think about what is the square root of a squared? That is a plus minus. What is the square root of 4? 2. So you will recognize that these should always be the same. The variables, maybe we'll have a coefficient and a variable in each. It might change up on you. Okay, so a plus minus bb. So they always should look the same. They're just variables represent numbers. And if you're unsure, you can just FOIL this out. A times a squared. A times negative 2, negative 2a. Positive 2 times a, positive 2a. 2 times negative 2, negative 4. And you notice the inside becomes 0. And we are left back with our answer. So that was our answer for difference of squares. Going into my number 2. $81 minus x squared. What is the square root of 81? So remember, that is the same that multiplies by itself. So that would be 9. Go check that in a calculator if you're unsure. Plus minus. What is the square root of x squared? Just cut the 2 in half. That's the quick way to do it. And we're done there. So difference of squares can be really quick if you make it easy for yourself. Now going into another one, we have now 121 x squared minus 25y squared. And if you ever want to try these out at home, it's really good to pause the video, try it, and then turn it back on to check. So what is the square root of 121? It is 11. So 11. Now this one has two parts here. What's the square root of x squared? X. So you see how they're touching? Because they're touching here. Minus plus, I could do plus minus or minus plus. What is the square root of 25? 5. What's the square root of y squared? Y. And if you're ever unsure if your answer is incorrect or correct, you can always distribute that out to check. Going on to another one. Now, I can't remember if I said this at the beginning of the video. The first step you always want to check is GCF. So looking at this one right here, first step of factoring is GCF. So again, in my classroom, I always chant GCF, GCF, and I get all my kids chanting because it's so important to think of that first. I even forget it sometimes. So looking at this example right here, can anything come out of 25 and 100? And you would say, yeah, 25, the biggest number. And I've left c squared, and 25 goes into negative 100, negative 4 times. So we just did GCF here, but now we look on the inside, we say, can we do anything else? Can we do anything else? That is difference of squares. Now difference, you're seeing the subtraction, that's why it's called difference of squares. So we have 25, c plus 4, c minus 4. Sorry. What is the square root of 4? That is 2, so we put 2 and 2. And now we are done. So whatever you bring out, you leave in your answer, but you continue going on with the rest. So that is an example with GCF. Got a few more just to throw at you guys. What if I give you x squared, y squared, minus 1? First step, I always check, is GCF. And I notice that there's a negative here, so I can do difference of squares. Do I know the square root of x squared? Yep, it's x, x. Square root of y squared, y, y. Positive, negative, and square root of 1, 1, 1. And I am done with that one. Okay. Going on, I think I just have 2 more for you guys. I'm going to do 24 a squared minus 6 b squared. The first step of factoring is to check GCF. Can anything divide into 24 and 6? And I would say 6. So I'm left inside with what? 6 goes into 24 4 times. A squared is left. And 6 goes into negative 6. Negative 1 times, but you don't need that 1 there. And then, but you do need the b squared. Now check on the inside, see if you can do anything else. Can I square root the 4? Yes. 2, 2. Can I square root a squared? A, plus, minus, square root of b squared, b, b. And you leave the 6 out there for your final answer. So I think I've done all the examples I wanted to do. Actually, let me throw just one more at you. My dog wanted to say hi. He just walked in if you saw him. Standing there. Okay, looking at this next one, let's just throw one more at you. We have x to the 4 minus y to the 6. What is the square root of 9? 3, 3. Now, square root of x to the 4, just remember you're always cutting in half. So x squared, positive, negative. What's square root of y squared? Cut in half. Y cubed, y cubed. So I think I threw everything at you guys that I would like with difference of squares. Always trying to have everything. If you ever don't want to watch one part, you can skip through it. Just again, this is Kelsey from Math Sisters. Thanks for joining me.